keeps control. They call it the calling.
They're all gonna watch and cheer as you die.
That's me, facing televised execution by breakfast cereal mascots. Not my happiest day.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 action film Boy Kills World. The film is directed by Moritz Moore and it stars Bill Skarsgård, Vanka Janssen, Jessica Roth, Michelle Doherty, we have Brett Gelman, and we also have Sharlto Copley. Right, the film focuses on Bill Skarsgård's character, who is simply called Boy. He's a deaf mute, and we learn that as a child he had to witness the death of his family due to something called the culling. And this is an event that happens every 12 months. And the evil Hilda van der Kooi, played by Vanka Janssen, essentially rounds up every 12 months her enemies and kills them very publicly, and his family was one of these cullings. He is taken under his wing by a local native who teaches him the art of war and battle and martial arts and gunplay. He grows up with his only intention of tracking down everybody responsible for killing his family and wreaking havoc upon them. Right. What are my thoughts on Boy Kills World? Well, this is... wow. How best to describe this film? John Wick on acid, probably. It is a bizarrely wonderful film. It is very memorable, very bonkers, and insanely over the top. It's got this narration throughout it. Now, because Boy, played by Bill Skarsgård, he can't talk, he has his own inner voice, and this inner voice that he has chosen for himself is the voice of his favourite video game. So, you know them voices on like all the trailers that you had watched in the 80s? It's like one of those voices. And that it narrates throughout the whole film for him, is like his thoughts, that kind of stuff. And it's madness. And it's madness, but it just works, if you like that. But when he can't lip read somebody, it quite literally translates that through the voiceover, and what he thinks they're saying is kind of portrayed on screen. And again, it's just complete madness. So you've got this central story which is very simple, really, of this boy who is now grown up, highly trained and highly motivated to kill all those responsible for the death of his family. But because he had all these mad layers onto it, it makes it really quite watchable in many, many ways. I mean, Bill Skarsgård is outstanding here. An incredible physical performance from someone that doesn't speak a word in the whole film. His mannerisms are just absolutely wonderful. He gets distracted by macaroons, which he's never tried before, and he ends up tasting one and loves them, and he ends up kind of almost getting caught because he's just eating macaroons constantly. The action is incredibly inventive. It's one of those action films where he uses everything that he can to hand, sort of thing, and to brutal effect. I mean, there's quite a memorable fight scene where he uses a cheese grater in a fight scene that just looks horrifically painful, but again, it just works. He has visions of his young sister who was killed all them years ago as a girl who's following him around and kind of giving him advice or all that kind of stuff. So, he's insane as well. I mean, he's kind of been driven insane over the years because he's been trained and tortured, really, by this guy that trained him for a long, long time. You know what I mean? There's very little left in him that isn't not insane. And the film is like a weird, violent fever dream. It's just a bizarre but unavoidably entertaining film. And it also has, I think, an absolutely fantastic finish to the film. You know, when he actually, I mean, there's a little bit of Running Man in here as well, when he's going, he's taking part in this televised culling event, and you know, there's people being murdered left, right, and centre by people that are dressed up as breakfast cereals and stuff. It's just complete and utter madness, but it's non-stop, breathtaking action from from like the final part of the film. It just doesn't stop. It's just, well, throughout most of the film, the action doesn't really stop. And then you've got this weird narration going on throughout it as well that just adds to the impact of the action. It just works. And then there's actually, and I didn't see it coming, and normally I do in a lot of movies, there's actually a decent twist as well at the end that I didn't see on the horizon, that I thought added another layer to the film. And one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen at the end of this film, with two characters going up against one character. It just blew me away. It was just brutal, hard hitting, long, which, you know, a lot of action scenes are really good these days, but kind of are over before you know it. Not this one. It went on and on and on, and in a good way. You know what I mean? It just took my breath away, really, the action scenes in this film, and some were just, you know, jaw-droppingly good. The violence is brutal, bloody, way over the top, and it was an absolute delight. I've got to say, I really, really liked this film. Really liked it. It quite oddly, it has like a bit of a tone shift near the end, whereas everything kind of leading up to the film, leading up to the end or the climax of the film, it's kind of been, yeah, you've had brutal action scenes and you've had all this hard-hitting stuff, but you've also got, like I say, this weird voiceover and these quirky things happening, and, you know, getting distracted by macaroons and all these other quite comedic things happening. And then at the end of the film, the tone shifts a little bit, and that lightness isn't there so much. It's just hard-hitting and brutal at the end. But I really liked this. I really liked it. Didn't make a lick of sense. Absolutely bonkers. Completely over the top stuff. But I liked it. I really liked it. It was literally like a fever dream. It was just mental. But if you like your action different, if you like a film that, you know, really does try and be creative in its approach to action and that kind of stuff, I think you would really like this. If you're that kind of person, if you're sick of, you know, these, maybe you could argue well made but quite generic action films that are made now that just look like an exhibition for stuntmen almost, you know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, or an exhibition of, you know, fight choreography and this kind of stuff, and this has got all that in it, but it's got this, you know, all this incredibly creative stuff going on in the film as well that I thoroughly enjoyed. So yeah, check this film out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you like a bit of humour in your action and you like a bit of bonkersness in your action, I think you'll find a lot here to enjoy. So thanks for joining me, guys. I will be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.